Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
Welcome back, team. As we are recording this, we have nearly reached 1,000 downloads on the podcast, which blows my mind. So thank you to every single one of you who have clicked on this and listened. We appreciate you. Now you're looking at this title of the podcast and you may be thinking, well, I've been doing CrossFit for a while, so how is this going to bring me any value? Well, we wanted to make this particular topic to talk a little bit more about the client experience, the coach's experience, and this might be a good opportunity to share the podcast with anybody who's been maybe a little intimidated or maybe even a little bit scared to start CrossFit. So we hope you enjoy it, even though you may have been doing CrossFit for a while, and I think you're going to get some pretty good nuggets in this podcast anyways. And before we get into it, I just want to say, for those of you guys who listened to our previous episode, we forgot to mention it in this one, but I did crush Susie in the workout. Just an FYI. Okay, guys, let's get to it. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. We're live.
Episode 11.
Whoa.
Does that mean it's lucky? Or do we believe in that?
No.
Oh.
10 was the episode.
I'm trying to hold my hand.
Oh, you don't want to hold hands?
Okay, we can hold hands. Let's hold hands for the whole podcast.
Yeah.
And everyone can see us. No, they can't see us, but they can feel that we're gazing into each other's eyes longingly.
Hey, if you're listening to this podcast with your significant
Playing
other,
with each other's fingers.
I want you to grab their hand and hold their hand for the entire podcast. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Banter topic is
That
over.
didn't last long.
Okay, banter topic is, let's talk about the heat. Let's talk about the
my
summer. Let's talk about our Turn Up the Heat competition coming
When you
up.
said let's talk about, all I want to do is let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
All right, we're talking about the heat here. Now, it is summer here, officially kicked off.
Montreal.
Oh, yeah. And I wanted to ask you, do you enjoy working out in the heat?
Not as much as you do.
Well, what does that mean?
I do not like the cold.
Okay.
So I prefer the heat over the cold. But like after it gets over 30 degrees, it's hot. And I struggle with my training. I find it impacts my ability to go to a higher gear. Whether I'm running outside or whether we're training in the gym and it's really hot, I really feel, I love the feeling of getting super sweaty. I enjoy that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if I'm trying to press on the gas pedal, I just don't have as much juice.
Gotcha. I, as Susie was saying before, love working out in the heat. The hotter it is, the more sunshine there is.
Salamander.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
In the winter, I will do a full-on Metcon, get a little bit sweaty, and then
The man does
2
not
minutes.
sweat.
2 minutes later, I'll be completely dry. Whereas now it's probably 25 degrees in the gym.
Which is very hot.
It's hot. It's humid also, and I love it. You're sweat instantly. I'm dripping. Today, sweat was actually getting in my eyes, and I'm.
Ooh, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah, so I don't get to feel those sensations.
The salty burn of sweat rolling into your eyes, that's a vibe.
I feel like it just looks cool. Everyone's glowing while they're working out. It's a good time.
I love that you see it that way.
Yeah. So if you're training this summer,
It does get a little stinky though in the gym. Not gonna lie. As best as everyone does to maintain good hygiene, we're a sweaty bunch.
Yeah.
Gets that sort of steamy body,
very steamy.
gym smell. Sometimes when I walk out of the gym, I'm like, oh, fresh air.
Yeah. And I gotta say, in our little podcast room here, there's no AC and the door is closed to get better sound quality.
Yeah, we're in a little bit of a...
And it's getting hot in here already. We've only been in here a few minutes.
Hot in here.
What is up with you and singing?
I don't know. I'm feeling it today. I don't know.
All right. Well, if
no,
you are...
I wasn't on my train of thought.
Oh, go for it.
It's gone.
So if you are training this summer, just note that the intensity of your workouts should drop a little bit because... the intensity from the heat is going to be
It's going to stop you probably anyways.
Yeah, but you don't want to get to the point where you have to stop.
Right. Heat exhaustion is a thing.
So make sure you're bringing down the speed of your movements. Make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're drinking a lot more water on the day-to-day basis. And you cannot be drinking the same amount of water as you do for the other, let's say, 9 months of the year.
Correct.
That you are going to be drinking in the summer, because not just in your workouts, but also in the day-to-day stuff. You're going to be sweating more when you go for walks. You're typically your home is going to be warmer. When you sleep, you're going to be sweating more. So just make sure that you are hydrating properly. And also, if you're eating predominantly a more whole food diet and you're eating healthier foods, you got to make sure you're still salting your foods. Put some pink salt on your vegetables, your meat, all the good stuff. So yeah, we're going to say?
Well, what I was going to say was just also keeping in mind that when you arrive to the gym and it's time to work out, that is not the time to start hydrating.
Exactly.
It is too late by that point. You need to be thinking about your hydration long before you're entering the gym for your training session. This needs to be like a constant thing. I find a lot of people, they drink a ton of water when they're inside the gym because they're so thirsty, because they've been dehydrated all day. And at that point, the water doesn't have time to like really help you out. You needed to drink it a few hours before your session started.
Yep. And I would say things that you'll start to notice if you're not hydrating enough is you're going to feel lower amounts of energy.
Right.
So you're going to feel more lethargic. You're going to feel like moving is going to be harder. You might start to get headaches. That's a very common symptom if you're dehydrated.
Your pee is super yellow.
Your pee is extra yellow. Yes. Your recovering from your workouts is not great. Your sleep is not great. And you're cranky. Actually. And a big one is also cramping.
Maybe that's why I get cranky. I don't drink enough water.
Also, cramping is a big one. So if you feel like in your workouts you're getting cramps, or throughout the day randomly you start getting cramps in your hamstrings or in your calves, wherever that is, it's just a very a good note to make if you're starting to feel those things. And get more water into the system, get more sodium, get more electrolytes. On that note, let's take a pause. Let's take a quick sip of water.
Oh, ASMR?
I got some lemon habanero element in my water, and I'm loving it.
I have some BCAAs. Whoops. Sorry, guys. I have some BCAAs. I don't know what flavor it is. Fruit punch flavor, maybe?
You got BCAAs and hydrate.
BCAAs and hydrate, right.
Yeah.
From 5 Star. We sell it at the gym. You know, if you want it, come and get it.
Little plug. Both.
Plug City.
All right, let's get into our topic for today. We're talking about starting CrossFit.
Yeah.
The process.
Yeah.
Wow. All the interesting things.
Yes. Starting CrossFit, I guess, like our experiences in starting CrossFit, but also CrossFit Max's philosophy for beginners.
Yep.
Philosophy?
Sure.
Method? I don't know.
Yep. I love it.
The process.
Both. All of the above.
Okay, why don't we talk about like how you started CrossFit, how I started CrossFit, and then we can talk about what would happen to you if you were just starting CrossFit at CrossFit Max specifically.
We all know how you started CrossFit.
Ultimatum City.
Okay, let me tell the people how I got started into CrossFit. I finished volleyball in first CEGEP for John Abbott. I was playing high competitive volleyball for the sports team, graduated from John Abbott, and then didn't really have any sports. I was finished basketball, I was finished volleyball, and I kind of came across this YouTube video or this YouTube influencer that I was watching. This was like 11 years ago.
So at this time, did you have friends doing CrossFit?
No. Not many people were doing CrossFit back then. This was
you hear that? Brandon started the trend.
This was 2012. I started seeing stuff about CrossFit. And so I was following this YouTube guy, and he started posting CrossFit-like workouts where he would go to football fields and do these things, and he would call it CrossFit, and then he would film himself go to CrossFit gyms and do these epic workouts. So when I finished volleyball and it was kind of summertime, I didn't really have any activities to do. So I would go for a run, and then I would run to the football track, and then I would just do push-ups and squats and running, suicide runs.
By yourself?
Oh, yeah. By myself. Yeah.
Didn't have friends? Just kidding.
No one wanted to do hard workouts like that.
Still doesn't have friends.
Wow.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All the CrossFit Max members are my friends. I think.
Yeah,
So,
they're paying money to come to the gym.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. But anyway, so I was doing like this type of stuff, and then I was living by myself, and then I moved back into a house with my mom and my brother, and I was kind of just going to a local gym, doing Monster Gym, the one that's here in Montreal, and wasn't really having that much fun, just doing the whole chest, arms, back, never do legs. And then I just Google searched, okay, CrossFit, I'm going to go try this out. And at the time, I mean, even now, like CrossFit memberships are a lot more expensive than regular gyms. Right. But the crazy thing is that CrossFit memberships haven't changed in the last 10 years, which is absurd to me to think about. But
we're trying to change that. That's besides the point.
But yeah, so I remember thinking I was 19 years old. This is, again, at this point, we're in 2013. And I just Googled it, and a CrossFit gym popped up, and I booked a free trial for like the following week, and instantly someone called me like within 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah, they were fast.
Look at that service.
And then they asked if I wanted to come in today, and I said, well, why not? So I went in.
Very cool.
Did a workout, loved it. Instantly signed up for the process, signed up for what that gym called was fundamentals. We call it foundations here. And then, yeah, next thing you know, I fell in love. I did the whole course, and then I started group classes, and I fell in love.
Wow. Flash forward 10 years, and we're sitting in your very own CrossFit gym.
Pretty crazy. Yeah. Actually, we have a listener here, LP, Louis Philippe. He was my first coach. He was the person that called me. He was the person that did the one-on-one session with me, the free trial. And then,
wow, what a service.
Yeah, crazy. And
Man
I just
is still giving good services.
And I just worked out with him this morning in our gym, so it's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yep.
And he has his own like online coaching business.
Yep.
So
just rebranded Endure Athlete.
Endure Athlete. Check them out on Instagram,
Facebook,
all the things.
He's got a podcast too.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get him on the podcast one day.
Yes, we definitely do. He is a major source of inspiration for both of us.
Yep. And I would say it was just a Google search for CrossFit. I found it on YouTube. Now, again, this is 11 years ago, so YouTube wasn't nearly as big as it is now.
Right.
CrossFit wasn't nearly as big. There was, I think, 3 gyms in all of the Montreal area, maybe 4 gyms in all of the Montreal area. And it wasn't really a big thing. I would have to explain to people what CrossFit is. And I feel like now most people know what.
I feel like a lot of people have heard of it, whether they know exactly what it is. Now CrossFit is a very mainstream term.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. And it started with a Google search, then a call. Next thing you know, I'm doing some, crazy Metcon in a gym. And then I fell in love.
Very cool.
And you want to tell them how you started?
I fell in love first, but not with CrossFit, with Brandon. And then Brandon forced me to try it. And he actually took me through my foundation. So he did some one-on-one sessions with me to kind of ease me into it. And then I joined the same gym that he was working out at and coaching at the time. And I also fell in love with CrossFit right away. I really enjoyed training in a group setting. I'm definitely more of a social trainer. Mm-hmm. I would not have had the discipline that you had when you were running to the park alone and doing push-ups and all that alone. I definitely thrive off of the group environment. So I just fell in love with the movements and feeling stronger and fitter every time I went to the gym. And here we are.
Yeah. So maybe we tell the people how.
So what happens?
What's the process of starting CrossFit?
What does starting CrossFit look like if you are going to join CrossFit Max and you've never done CrossFit before? Yeah,
it's pretty cool. We actually have some new client that's going through his foundations with you.
Yes.
And I think he has gone through the same or similar process that I went through 11 years ago. It. So he walked into
Shout out Steven.
Yeah, shout out to Steven. I'm not sure if he's listening to this because he's so new.
Maybe he will one day though.
But he walked in. We have our gym is on a pretty busy boulevard.
Yeah, we do get a lot of like walk-in foot traffic.
Yeah. So he walked in, but most people, when they walk in, they're just looking for a gym. They're not necessarily particularly looking for CrossFit. So when everyone walks in, we introduce ourselves.
Right.
And so he walked in, and I was like, "Oh, have you ever heard of CrossFit before?" And he replied like, "Yes, like I'm here because I searched you guys. I searched CrossFit on Google, and I'm coming to you guys because your guys' gym is close to my place, and you were one of the first ones that popped up."
And we have tons of amazing Google reviews. Thank you to our members. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. So he walked in, and he was coming with the purpose of starting CrossFit.
Absolutely.
So that was really cool. And
what we do with people,
most of CrossFit training is in a group setting. We do offer one-on-one individual training for the person who wants like a personal trainer. We do offer that. But most of our members and most of our CrossFit training is via group classes. And there's a lot that goes into CrossFit. There's a lot of movements, a lot of functional movements that we do. We do gymnastics. We do Olympic lifting. We do powerlifting. We do body weight exercises that people may have never done before.
Right.
We do
cardiovascular
movements like running, skipping, biking, and rowing and skiing. So there's a lot of things that go on in a CrossFit group class.
And you never really know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
In terms of every day is slightly different, and there's a lot of variety in the classes.
Yeah, we do a lot of resistance training, but we do it with barbells, we do it with dumbbells, we do it with medicine balls, we do it with elastic bands. So we have a lot of things going on. So when someone walks into our gym, we don't just throw them into a group setting. It's super intimidating. You're not going to know the format of the group class. You're not going to know what the exercises are. You're not going to understand the terminology.
Yeah, I was going to say, lingo is a big one too.
And on the flip side of things, so it's not just the client is not going to be aware of all these things, but now you're looking at the coach's side of things, and the coach is looking at this new person in this group setting
like a fish out of water
with 10, 12 other people, and this person now needs you to teach them everything. So, and I would also say, well, maybe we'll go into this a little bit later, but there's also the other members.
Like they're coming to do a group class and they're expecting to get coached. Yeah. And if there's somebody in the class who has absolutely no idea what they're doing and has never done any of the movements before, obviously they're going to require all of the attention of the coach, and therefore it takes away from their experience.
Yeah.
So not only does it make a stressful situation for the client, it makes a stressful situation for the coach, and it's like frustrating for the other members who would like to have time with the coach and cannot have it because they're completely focused on a new person in the class.
So what we do with all new people walking in, we put them through what we call a semi-sweat intro. Yeah. It's a free trial, one-on-one with a coach. They come in, you talk to them about, well, first
their goals,
who they are. I mean, that's really important, is we want to get to know them. Absolutely. We want to understand where they are in life. Not everybody comes into a CrossFit gym in the same point of their life.
Right.
Some people are younger, some people are older, some people have different goals, some people work, some people are parents.
Some people are coming off injuries or having children or any of those types of things. So everybody starts at their own place.
So we get to know them a little bit. Then we talk to them also about what is CrossFit, what are the movements we do, what are the expectations, what are the goals, all that stuff. And then from there, so it's a good chatting period. It's a good 10-15 minutes of just chatting.
That's why we call it a semi-sweat intro, because you're only sweating a little bit.
And then after that, we put them through some actual movement. We get them nice and warm. We go over a few assessments. We have like an overhead carry just to see how the shoulders are.
Testing kind of where are they currently at in their fitness. Not a judgment, just to see, okay, where are we starting from? Have they done sports before? Maybe some things are really effortless for them, or maybe they've never been inside a gym, or they've never done sports before in their life. And so this would be a chance for us to kind of get to know, how do they move? What is their current level of fitness?
If you guys just heard that beep, it's actually hilarious because we just got an email from a Get Started client trying to book a semi-sweat, which is hilarious. We don't get much of those, but it's very ironic. So we put them through that gentle warm up. We put them through a few assessments. We go over some body weight exercises like how to squat, We see if they
Ring
can do a
rows.
pull-up, and if they can't do a pull-up, we go over like ring rows. And then from there, we do a very short AMRAP or circuit style to get them sweating, huffing, puffing, seeing what their fitness level is actually capable of.
Yeah, and also see how they approach a workout, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's part of it, is to see some people are like very apprehensive and nervous to push themselves, and other people are like, yeah, let's get it.
Yeah. And I would say every single time when we start that AMRAP, we always coach them to, hey, we're going to start this slow. We're not going to go all out. It's 7 minutes. We're going to go really slow at the beginning. I want you to go awkwardly slow at the beginning. It's a quick circuit of bike erg, ring rows, and air squats. So there's no like weightlifting involved. It's just body weight and a cardio machine. Let's move really slow. And if you feel really good after the first round, okay, let's push the intensity. Let's add some speed to this. And the goal is not to really end the 7-minute AMRAP on the ground or in a lot of pain. The goal is to really just feel like a winner at the really end. Good. Walk out of that being like, yes, like I love this and I want to continue doing this. And that's how it should be at the beginning. Because again, most people are coming to try CrossFit and they either haven't been exercising for a long period of time or ever. Some people haven't done this style of training. So turning on a timer for 7 minutes and trying to just move your body and move at a high intensity right now with the heat as well. So you just got to make sure you're just a little bit more careful at the beginning. So we do that. And then from there, if they like it, which hopefully 9.9 out of 10 people love it.
Yes.
And then what they do is we put them through a foundations course.
Right.
So a foundations course is a one-on-one session with your coach for anywhere between 5 to 8 sessions. And we say 5 to 8 because, again, every single person is completely different. Some people can squat fantastic. Some people, broke their ankle when they're younger and now they have a really hard time getting into the bottom of a squat. Some people have poor shoulder mobility because they've been sitting at a computer desk working 9 to 10 hours a day for the last 20 years of their life and their shoulders are completely rounded forward. So overhead stuff becomes an issue.
Very challenging.
Some people pick up on movements very quickly. Others have a really hard time having like body awareness.
Yes, I would say that's a really big learning curve for a lot of people.
Yeah. So we give this like rough range of like 5 to 8 sessions, and we're never super strict with those people. After the 5 sessions, if they want to keep going, then we can keep doing it. We've had people that say, hey, you know what? I want to do one more session because I would like to go over this movement. And then throughout the sessions, one by one, we're going over just very functional movements. Like we're teaching them how to push and pull with their upper body. We're teaching them how to squat. We're teaching them how to hinge. We're teaching them introduction to gymnastics. We're not going into muscle ups right away, but we're teaching them how to properly hang from the pull-up bar in an active position with your lats.
Right.
We're teaching people how to get their hands on barbells, get their hands on the dumbbells and the medicine balls.
I would say like a huge part of the foundations course is also just teaching people how to go get their barbell and load up their barbell and go get a rower and roll it across the gym and set it up, and all those like little things that are super nerve-wracking and awkward when you first join a gym of like, where do I go to get this? Oh, what is a clip? How do I put this clip on the barbell? There are just like so many little awkward moments which we try and make easy throughout the foundation so that when the time comes to join a group class and the coach is like, go get your barbell and load it up with a weight, you know exactly what to do.
Yeah, I always joke about this. The 2 hardest things about foundations is learning how to put the J hooks on the rig for your barbell
and the clips. Yeah. I softly giggle with my clients when I'm teaching them how to set up the clips because I kid you not, this is the most difficult piece of equipment in the entire gym.
And for those of you guys who have listened or are listening to this, you definitely know the nerves of going into a new gym.
Oh my God.
Everybody's done it. I've done it several times. No matter how many years of training I've done, anytime I walk into a new gym, I get nervous. I get the butterflies. I feel out of place. Getting them to be more familiarized with the equipment and where to put their shoes and where to put their bag and where is the washroom, like those tiny things.
Yeah.
Because one of our goals at CrossFit Max is to really make this place someone's like second home. It's a huge part of our mission, and it's just awkward at the beginning. It's just awkward to go through these motions at the beginning. So we want them to feel as comfortable as possible, and I don't want people to feel stressed about that stuff.
We want them to go through that awkward growth edge one-on-one with us when we can help them completely undivided, so that when the time comes to join the group class, they feel a little bit more confident. It's still going to be nerve-wracking. We don't expect after 5 to 8 sessions for someone to be a CrossFit pro, but hopefully we've taken the edge off of like some of the little things. Yeah.
So they've had like some sort of intro to most of the CrossFit movements.
Yeah, the
right?
big,
all the
big movements.
All the big ones, yeah, like deadlifting, squatting, pressing overhead. We have the Olympic lifts, so the clean and jerk, the snatch. We go over kind of like, you know, movements we'll see in Metcons often, like wall balls and sit-ups and push-ups and ring rows. We go over intro to gymnastics. So we go over kind of a massive intro session that takes about 5 to 8 sessions to go through, teach people how to properly move. And we also get them to feel familiarized with the gym, but also we start to teach them the terminology, like what is a EMOM, for example,
or AMRAP.
What is an AMRAP? What does 3 rounds for time actually mean? How should we also be approaching workouts? When you see something that says 3 rounds for time, does that mean I have to go balls to the wall at the very first round and try to finish this as fast as possible? So it's just about also definitely not, right? And then the other aspect that we haven't mentioned yet is also helping them get into some sort of fitness level. Because at the beginning, most of the time, people are coming from very little, zero, sometimes very little, and we're starting to slowly introduce intensity throughout their workouts.
Right.
So this way, when they feel like they go to the group class, they don't feel like they're necessarily, hopefully, dying at the beginning, because the group classes can be intense for people who have not exercised. Like you take someone who hasn't exercised for maybe 10 years, and you throw them into the group and say, hey, we're doing this AMRAP of 20 minutes of, 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats. After 5 minutes, they're probably going to go so hard at the beginning, and then they're going to feel wrecked after. So there's a huge aspect of teaching the movements, and then also just trying to teach them like how to approach a workout, how to pace themselves, increase the intensity as they go.
Also just increase their fitness a little bit before they're thrown right into the group classes, which are more intense than the one-on-one sessions. Because the one-on-one sessions are a lot more teaching and learning versus intensity.
Yeah.
There's a lot less intensity in those foundation sessions, those one-on-one sessions that
so for example, at the beginning of a foundation course, let's give them like a breakdown of like what a beginning of a foundation course versus like, let's say, a group class.
Right.
So the beginning of a foundations course would start very similar to a group class where we go through a full body warm up. We usually target specific muscles that we're going to be using for that session. So let's take a group class that has a front squat strength piece and then a Metcon. Well, the difference between the group class and the foundations is during the foundations, instead of saying, hey, just go grab a bar, put the bar on your shoulders and squat heavy for 5 sets of 3 reps.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is we're going to teach them. We're going to teach them how to put the J hooks properly on the rig. We're going to teach them, okay, the barbell's over here, so we got to get the barbell.
How do we grab the barbell?
Yeah. What is the stance of my hands on the barbell? Where do I position my feet? Okay. Now I need to try to get this person's elbows in a higher position. We're looking at proper squat mechanics when they're doing it. Although we're still doing all these things in the group class, we're not teaching it to this person. We're not teaching the 10 members in a group class how to front squat because they've already had an intro and they know how to.
Now they're in the group class, they're ramping up their intensity. They're building up strength.
They're not doing empty bar front squats for 10 sets here. What they're doing is they're doing one quick set of empty bar, and then they're grabbing the 10s, then they're grabbing the 25-pound plates, then they're grabbing the 45-pound plates. Next thing you know, they're at 100 and something pounds. Whereas in the foundations, it's mostly about taking 15 minutes to teach that person how to get into optimal position and also how to be able to do it consistently. for multiple reps.
Right. So this is like something that you gave me as a great framework or guidance, is when we're doing movements, is we want to learn the movement. We want to be consistent with the movement. Yeah. I can't talk today. Sorry, guys. So we want to learn the movement. We want to be consistent with the movement. And then, and only then, do we start to add intensity to the movement. Yeah. So the foundations, we're really focusing on those first 2 steps. And maybe depending on the level of the athlete, we can begin to add the intensity. But when we're talking about the group class, we're really talking about the intensity piece of it, because the learning and we're working always on our consistency, I guess, but the learning of the movement is done. So it's more like consistency and intensity in a group class versus in a foundations. It's really learning and then consistency.
Yeah, probably the 3-step process to everything we do in CrossFit.
Yeah.
And just to break that down for people, we call that technique for the first piece here. So what that means is understanding, okay, where do my feet go? How do my hips move properly? What is the elbow position in a front squat? So that's really like breaking down the movement piece by piece. And once someone can do one front squat, okay, they have the good technique to be able to do a front squat.
Yeah.
All right, now let's move on to stage 2, which is what we call consistency. Can this person do 2 reps with that good technique? Can this person do 3 reps? Can this person do 10 reps with good consistency and good technique, right? That's what we call consistency. So how many reps can I make this person keep that technique? All right, wow, I can make this person do 10 reps, really good technique. All right, well, now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to start to add some intensity. And intensity comes in so many different ways, but in the term of a front squat, intensity would be loading up the bar. So adding 10s on each side, adding a 25 on each side, and just building up to something that's heavy. And that can be extremely intense for the front squat. Now, if someone starts to load up the bar with too much weight, and then their form starts to break down, then we need to backtrack and we need to go back to stage 2 or even to stage 1.
Right.
So we have technique, consistency, and then intensity. And that happens in the group classes, but it's no longer about, okay, now I need to teach this person the technique. It's like, well, right now the intensity for that person is too high, so I need to bring it back down. I need to take some weight off their bar for them or tell them to take the weight off, and then we need to go back to being consistent with the movement.
Right. And I think that's the golden rule for all CrossFit movements.
Absolutely, yeah. So now that we've like gone through the whole intro course, they've done what we call the foundations. They now know.
We call them graduates when they're finished.
Exactly. So they graduate from foundations.
Yeah.
And then from there, we get them into the group class.
Right.
And there are certain things that we talk to them about. The learning is not done. You're still going to be learning in the group classes. Yes. All of our members still learn every day. They still do movements. There's going to be some movements that we didn't necessarily cover in the foundations that we're going to be doing in the group classes. You're still going to be learning them. And also, it's still going to be a gradual increase in intensity throughout the group classes. So they've graduated from foundations. We put them into the group class. As they get into the group class, we always intro them on their first couple classes. Yeah. Hey, this is, well, hopefully it'll be Steven soon.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Steven coming in. He just finished his foundations with Coach Susie. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Ba, 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 ba. And then we joke a little bit, and then we get into the session.
And you know what? I love our members for this are amazing. Anytime a new person walks in, even if they're coming in to do a foundations or a free trial, I always see members going to talk to the new person in the room and making them feel comfortable. So keep doing that, guys. Yeah. Honestly, as gym owners, one of the coolest things to watch is a new person get welcomed with open arms. And, you know, I think our community is obviously the best community that there ever was. Yeah. But I really do believe that. And I think it's one of the best selling features of the gym. So that's just, thanks, guys.
And I think,
thank you.
I think now that we're 10 months into being open, we've had so many members that have gone through that foundations course that they know what those people feel like. Because even I would say for the first, when I finished my foundations course 10 years ago, I was so nervous, although I went through all the intro of the movements, and I, worked on the technique and worked on the consistency and worked on the intensity aspect of things. I was still, for like 3 months, couldn't remember all of the names, had butterflies when I came into the groups. I was nervous.
My first day of CrossFit, I think I pooped like 6 times that morning. I was so anxious.
Yeah. So
sorry if that's TMI, guys.
It's totally normal that when you finish the foundations course, you don't feel maybe necessarily 100% ready, or you feel like you've learned everything, or it's okay. It's just going to take time.
It's super normal to also feel uncomfortable when you're not one-on-one anymore with the coach. So you're like, oh, I have to be a little bit more independent.
Yep.
But it's all part of growing process. And then it's so funny now because we have members who did foundations months ago, and now they're just so integrated. They look like so natural and calm, cool, and collected when they come into the to the gym, into the classes. So it's a temporary
and they're the ones
experience.
Welcoming the new people now.
I know, and I love that so much. The best thing ever, you guys. It looks like we're paying you or something. The members are killing it. They're always like, oh yeah, like this is the best decision ever, or you're gonna do awesome, or I was there a few months ago and like I've been you, and it's really cool. Yeah, it's so fun. So I'm really enjoying it. Steven's my first client going all the way through foundations with just me. Prior to that, we had other coaches doing that role, and
it's cool.
I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely
a different challenge
from a coaching standpoint, teaching someone from completely like zero prior CrossFit knowledge to learning. It's also extremely rewarding because you see the person go from not understanding how to squat properly to squatting a beautiful front squat. Yeah.
It's a very rewarding process for sure. Rewarding.
It's very rewarding.
Yeah. So going back to that, the overall client experience here, the overall group experience, the overall coach experience, everything we do to go through that entire semi-sweat to foundations to intro to group classes, we just want the experience for everyone to be like top notch. So now this client,
premium experience.
This client has got one-on-one service where they have an intro to most movements we've done. They now they're starting to feel like CrossFit Max is becoming a home to them. Yeah. They're going through the motions. They know where things are. They feel more comfortable. They still not 100% sure about what the movement names are, but they're starting to get to know it. They definitely now know like terminology, like they know what an AMRAP is, they know what an EMOM is, they know what for time means. So the client experience feels much more ready to get into the group class and ready to work with the group class. Right. The coach doesn't feel, oh my God,
what am I supposed to do with this person?
I have this one client out of the 12 people that are in front of me, and now I need to spend 75% of my time with this one person, and I got to split the other 25% with the 11 other people. So the client is thinking, okay, this person has a basic intro to movement already. The coach is thinking, now I have a basic understanding of how this person should be moving. I can still maybe put a little bit more percentages towards helping this person out and making them feel a little bit more comfortable, but I can still spread out my time and spread out my coaching throughout the entire group. Right. And then the last thing is the group now feels, oh wow, this coach is giving me just as much attention as they are the other people.
Yeah, I would say oftentimes that we have this experience of people wanting to go right into group classes. When they come in, they're like, oh, I'd rather not do, like, the reason they're coming to CrossFit is because they've heard it's group training and that's what they're most excited about. Yeah. And so oftentimes we do get that sort of pushback maybe from a person who doesn't know our system and why we do it the way we do it. But then as soon as they do experience it, they see very quickly why it is the way that it is and become really grateful for that experience. Because as much as someone is eager to get into the group class, if they're not ready, it's not going to be a fun experience. They're less likely to be successful in their CrossFit. They're more likely to injure themselves by trying something silly because they've never learned how to hinge properly and they round their back super hard on a deadlift or something. So it's really for the safety of the client, for the overall benefit of the entire class and everything. And I think most people who maybe originally were like, no, can I just jump right into group classes, please, realize after finishing the foundation, oh, I'm so glad that I had that opportunity. So if you're a little bit hesitant by that, or something that maybe doesn't entice you is working one-on-one with a coach, maybe that's more intimidating to you than being in a group, it's definitely going to pay dividends.
So when I started CrossFit, I was at a gym that it was mandatory to do, just like at our gym. So I had to go through the process, and at that time, I didn't know anything better. I thought just everybody had to do that. But since then, I've been around at many other CrossFit gyms. And there are some gyms that there was 3 gyms that I've been to in the last, there's 4 gyms that I've been to in the last 10 years of my CrossFit experience, and only one of them was mandatory, and that was the one that I started at. The other 3 didn't. So I've been to many gyms where there isn't,
this is not the way.
This is not their way of doing it, which, you know, good luck if you're not doing it. But I've been to it where I've noticed all of these other things. Okay, this new person has never done CrossFit before. They're not moving correctly at all. Like, they are struggling. They look completely lost inside the gym. They look completely lost when the coach is talking to the group. Oh, also, I'm not being coached by this person anymore because the coach is now with this newbie for 90% of the class because they're having a hard time and they're just trying to teach it. So it is just a miserable experience, and I've seen it over and over and over again. And I just don't understand why I don't understand why CrossFit gyms don't make this mandatory, like, across all affiliates. I know CrossFit HQ can't or chooses not to do this, but I think that this is just the way to go if you're a CrossFit owner.
I genuinely agree that there's no other way that you should go about it ever. There's way too much involved in doing CrossFit that is too technical, and could potentially be dangerous or harmful if you're not doing it properly or you're not getting an adequate amount of coaching, and you just will not get the amount of coaching you need in order to learn the movements if you're thrown right into a group class. Because if you're thrown into a group class and the workout has clean and jerks in the workout is not the time to learn how to do a clean and jerk. This is not the time to learn physically how to hinge your hips. If you don't know how to hinge your hips, like, God bless. I've
been to group classes. Like, we cap our group classes at 12 people. Only on Saturdays do we have our big class. I have been to classes where you're 20 plus 30 people roughly.
Oh my God, it gives me anxiety.
There's like 3 drop-ins, and it's like, oh, today we're doing grace with 30 clean and jerks for time. It's like, what is that coach going to do with
my blood boil thinking about it.
25, 30 people doing clean and jerks for, roughly 6 minutes? At such a high intensity.
And it's so frustrating because...
And there's like 2 or 3 of them, and the coach is, well, I guess I'm just going to spend the next 10 minutes teaching these people.
They don't spend the time with them, and those people are doing funky movements, and then they leave with a backache. No kidding.
CrossFit's dangerous.
And then they have that experience that CrossFit is dangerous, or CrossFit gets you injured, and that's just so not our experience. I think it just gets me super frustrated. And you know what's really annoying about all of that is that the new person, they don't know what they don't know, so they think, oh, like, this is just how it's done. And it's so sad because they're missing out on such an opportunity of learning movements if they would have had access to a foundations course. So basically, come to CrossFit Max. We'll teach you.
We'll teach you how to move properly.
And safely. And you're make it fun. And
you're going to know the technique. You're going to be super consistent. And then once those 2 stages are done, then you could start to add some intensity.
And once you add the intensity, you're going to get mad results.
But if you add that intensity before you're consistent
mad
and before you get the technique down, you're going to be dealing with some pretty harsh consequences. So anyways.
And I feel like that was a big mic drop at the end. Mic drop.
Boom.
Client of the week.
So let's put Steven as our client of the week, because he is now 3 sessions in? You would know this.
We know he's done his trial and he's done 2 foundations. So he's got 3 more foundations, but he's so eager because he came in on Friday. We had a session and he was like, I want to get all of my next 3 done next week so that I'm ready to go in the group classes. So that's a really big dedication. Oftentimes people get nervous and they want to spread them out. But he's like, I want to get all 3 done. I want to get right into the group classes. I'm ready to make a lifestyle change. He's only 25 and he's never really done sports before, and he's like, you know what, I'm too young to be this achy and have this bad of a posture, and I really want to make a change. And he shows up with a smile. He's always early. He's pushing.
He is always early. I love that.
He's just honestly 10 on 10. The other day he was leaving after his workout, and Brandon was kind of busy coaching someone else, and he made the effort to be like, bye Brandon, across the gym, and they don't even know each other. They've just met like briefly at the gym. So We love you, Steven. Shout out to you this week.
Yeah.
We'll make
he
him.
deserves it.
I'll send him this podcast. I'll be like,
Yeah.
we talked about you on the podcast.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget, if you're training hard this summer, hydrate.
Drink your water, salt your food.
Get your element in. Have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in episode 12.
Bye.
See ya.